Welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary. My name's Mary English. You find me at www.maryenglish.com, maryenglish.co.uk and UK Astrologer. Hello, how are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I hope actually that you are well. If you're not well, get in contact. But don't forget, I'm also trained in alternative therapies of a vast amount of years experience, and even if you are in another country, I can still treat you because I can speak to you over Skype, and I can suggest remedies for you to buy. If you're in the US, I use two homeopathic pharmacies. One is called Hahnemann Labs, and the other is called I and E. Let me just find it, hold on. So if you're in the US, I use Hahnemann Labs, and the other is called Homeopathic Apothecary, I and E Organics Apothecary. So both of those organisations will allow you to buy remedies, and the I&E one, I'm registered with them, so I can, if I make a prescription for you, I'll send you to the website, and then they'll ask you who your homeopath is, and you tell them it's me. So it doesn't matter where you're living, there will be a homeopathic pharmacy, and even if necessary, I can send the remedies out to you. So it's a little plug there that if you're not well or you need some treatment, Auntie Mary can help. Now, this week we're going to continue, because I'm finding it quite exciting, I'm enjoying it. We're going to continue with the MC question. So last week we had a very kind volunteer, so we had Nat, and she shared her chart, and this week we've got, this isn't their real name, of course, everything's changed, we've got Mel. Now this is what Mel has written. So she says, I'm going through a change in my work, but it isn't quite clear to me what is coming. I have seen clients in my private naturopathic practice since 2006, and I'm feeling an urge to shift/expand this. So she wants to know about her Pluto-Sun conjunction. We'll come to that in a tick. But as I'm approaching, so also the October solar eclipse, where's that going to be on my solar return chart? I'm probably not going to cover that because this is about the MC, but as I'm approaching 50, I'd love more info to ready myself for my Chiron return. I think you've had that because Chiron takes, or you're having it, because Chiron takes 42 years to go around the zodiac, so we could do that. I made a big life change as my Saturn return. She moved to Canada for natural medical school, so my Saturn cycle is hitting a square, maybe sometime soon, maybe. So natally you have Saturn in Leo. It's not going to be a square because it's in Pisces at the moment, so it can't possibly square until it goes into Aries, and yours is 1 degree, so that's in a couple of years' time. Don't have to worry about that. I guess this is all coming down to how do I use my chart to best serve my higher purpose for this life. I have a lot of varied life experiences that seem to want to come together. I'm feeling the call/pressure of time and the need to get on with it already. I just don't quite know what that it is. Now we can cover this. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy by considering the MC, because this is what these episodes are about. This is what this lovely book by Jackie Slevin is all about, that finding the success in your horoscope. Because if you don't feel like you're successful at what you're doing, I mean, everybody's definition of success is different, but if it doesn't feel like there's success there for you, then you're gonna like wander around like, why am I here? What is it all about? Now, last week when we were doing Natalie's chart, we had a sun-moon opposition. So we had a born on a full moon, and we also had the North Node, which was very near to the moon. In Mel's case, so we're calling our person Melanie. In Melanie's case, we've got North Node in Scorpio in the 6th house of health. Well, I think you've ticked that one by being a naturopath, but we need to look about do you feel successful in it? So let's go quickly around the chart, and then we're going to hone in on the MC. So Gemini ascendant ruled by Mercury. Mercury is located in the 5th house, and the sun is in Libra, and Mercury's retrograde, in the sign of Libra as well, and the sun and Mercury aren't conjunct, they're way out of orb. The sun's 10 degrees and Mercury's 21. The moon's in Virgo, so there's a constant worry. But the sun doesn't aspect anything, which I think is important to point out. The sun doesn't make any aspect until we get to Neptune, and the sun and Neptune is sextile. So the sun and the moon aren't talking to each other, the sun and Mercury aren't talking to each other, the sun and Venus aren't talking to each other, the sun and Mars aren't talking to each other, the sun and Jupiter aren't talking to each other, the sun and Saturn aren't talking to each other, the sun and Uranus aren't talking to each other, and no one's having a conversation with anything until we get to the 2 outer planets, which is Neptune's natally in Sagittarius, so you've got a nice sextile there, and then the sun is conjuncting to Pluto. So basically in English, I know somebody else with the same signature with it being in Libra, you don't feel as if anything is happening until it's a life or death issue. Did I say that loud enough? Because Pluto is about deep change. So it's interesting that you relocated from the US to Canada to get your naturopathic certificate, but you think that you have to do radical things for anything to be of any significance. So that's the sun conjunct Pluto. So you asked me to discuss that. I'm discussing that now. Sun conjunct Pluto, it has to be life changing. So you won't want to change, you'll want to transform, which is what Pluto's all about. And you need cathartic reasons for doing stuff. Okay. So what I suggest you do is that you go to a cliff edge and stand on the cliff edge without obviously throwing yourself off, because that would be a silly thing to do. But being on the absolute edge of something will allow that sun conjunct Pluto to feel a little bit more happy, okay? Because you have to do this life or death thing. So the other thing, what you could do without risking life too much, you could probably bungee jump. I don't know if I've mentioned it already in a previous podcast, but I went to Bristol and I was walking around Bristol Harbour with my son, because he lives in Bristol. And we also went with my nephew, because he's recently moved to Bristol, and he incredibly moved to Bristol to a house 4 doors away from his cousin, my other nephew. Like, what was the chances of that? I mean, both of them knew that they lived in Bristol, but nobody had ever visited anybody else's house. There's 2 cousins, my 2 nephews. They'd never been to each other's houses. They weren't sure where they were located. They knew it was Bristol. But the second nephew of mine, who's from my brother, whilst the first nephew's from my sister, goes and bloody well buys a house 4 doors away on the same side of the road as nephew number 1. Crazy. Anyway, walking around Bristol Harbour with them, and there was somebody doing a bungee jump, and they were up in a little cage up a crane, and then the cage door opens and they attach the bungee to the person, and then they go, when you're ready, jump. Like, okay. And what they're jumping over is the Bristol Harbour. So if the thing, the elastic didn't retract soon enough, they wouldn't go slap onto the concrete on the side. They would have gone bump into the water and got a bit wet. But that's not happened because the bungee elastic allows them to raise above the level of the water. So that's the sort of thing. You need to do really scary things. Now, that's not what your career is all about. So let's talk and let's see if Jackie gives an analysis of the MC being in the sign of Aquarius, okay? So this is what she says. So this is just about your midheaven, okay? This isn't about your leading planet or anything, your important planet. So Aquarius midheaven, the ruling planet to that is Saturn and Uranus. This is the virtual stall. Its technological wizardry is state-of-the-art, and you need look no further for electronic gadgets, remote units, satellite dishes, and anything pertaining to outer space. Antennae towers are prominent, and there's an aviation centre for aircraft construction. Radium and X-ray machines are here, along with radioactivity, uranium, and radar. All activity conducted here is futuristic, and any new or radical idea is heartily championed. This is the stall to search for groups and organisations to join, for everything here is geared towards the common advancement of all humankind. Camaraderie abounds. The wheels and gears of machinery spin to increase production for the masses, and everyone here is a friend you haven't met. Among the people here are those who are a bit off-centre, including full-blown eccentrics, freethinkers, astronauts, machinists, inventors, and those who use physics and thermodynamics in their work, such as scientists and engineers. Civil rights activists are everywhere, along with revolutionaries, social reformers, and all those who question authority with bold statements. Here are the movers and shakers in the civic groups that work tirelessly for causes in the community and in the world at large. It's the home for humanitarians who help on a grand scale, and all support groups who share a common bond. Now, the chart she's using is the astronaut, the first one to set foot on the moon, Neil Armstrong, and he had I can't remember if he's still alive, he might just be alive. But anyway, he's got an Aquarius MC. So the ruling planets to it is Saturn, and natally your Saturn is in the sign of Leo. And Uranus, your Uranus is in Scorpio. They're forming a square to each other, so they're not friends. You've got Mercury opposition Jupiter as well. So you need to be aware of what you tell yourself, because that's important. Are you telling yourself positive things? So going back to your MC, being in Aquarius, it's a futuristic stuff. So it's better to be practicing something that is modern rather than elderly. And naturopathy is, I think it's a bridge between ancient medicines and modern as well, because there's quite a lot of naturopathy that involves more modern techniques. The Gemini ascendant does mean you get bored especially easy, so it's a little bit more difficult for you to knuckle down and get stuff done. You have got Mars right on the ascendant as well. So going back to what I was saying earlier about air signs, go and take some exercise. Sun's in the fourth, home roots, etc. as family. You need to consider what your relationship with your father was like. If it was rubbish, let me know. I've got a hypno track you can listen to. Moon's in the fourth as well. It's happy home there in the fourth. But in Virgo, it's going to be worrying a lot, and it forms a square to your Mars, and your Mars is in the first house. So you might need the Bachelor remedy Centauri to help your moon. Okay. So your MC is 24 degrees, and the nearest degree planet to it is 24 degrees and 10 minutes. Your Mars is 2551. What was the other one? And your moon is 2530. So your moon is nearer in number to your MC than your Mars, because your Mars is 2551, your moon's 2530. You haven't got anything at 24. Your true node is 22. That's way out of the number league. So I would say that your your significant planet, and the term she uses is your principal planet, and we need to note whether or not it's strength and sign, and whether it's in dignity, divinity, direction, whether retrograde, whatever. The moon's never going to do that, and it's in the fourth. So on the one hand, you need to work from home. Okay, so I don't know if you rent a room. If you do, give it up, rent from home. The other is that you do need to do, or to describe what you do, in a very modern and different way. Now, let me just check something. So I've just checked your website, and I have to tell you it's very, very, very old-fashioned. Apart from the fact the colour, nobody uses that colour anymore. That's a very old colour. You're born in the 1970s, I think might have something to do with it. There's too much information on there, and the first page doesn't load properly, and your photograph, when I look at it on a mobile phone, your photograph is actually blocking what you've written in red there, because you put there that you're virtual and that everything you do is online. So you need to absolutely update your website, okay, because that's not in keeping with your MC at all. Now, this isn't a criticism, it's just feedback. And there is just a little bit too much information on there in the first page. That's going to, and also the page isn't loading properly. So I've got, what have we got here? Is that your booking app? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so the button that you've got to, which probably says on it, I don't know, probably says in a book here, doesn't say that. On my mobile phone it comes up, it just says script embedded in HTML. So it looks as if your website's created in HTML, which is very, very old fashioned. I don't think anybody uses HTML on its own too much anymore. So whoever it was that created your website, so I'm sorry you're going to get the hard results from Auntie Mary. Because you're asking about your career, and I'm telling you about it. The person that created your website, sack them and get somebody else, and just use a WordPress page. You get much less aggravation. You've called your website the name of the city that you're working from, which is okay. That's pretty good. I'm wondering whether or not you should use your name. You did come up on a search because I did your name, and I didn't have to put naturopathy in it. It came up, so that's good. But you have got your MC in Aquarius, so which you are doing alternative therapies. You're qualified in what you're doing, but you are, I don't mean but, you are doing alternative therapies, which ticks the box for Aquarius MC. Regular medicine, as in doctors and nurses and antibiotics and stuff, isn't Aquarius MC. So you've got that, and you're interested in astrology. But I would recommend that you completely rethink your website. That was made in 2021, and just in 3 years, it's that colour. Please don't use that colour. That's not going to get you clients. That's if you want to be busy with your work. So we've got the ruling planet to it. Saturn is located in your second house of money. I don't think you're charging enough. I didn't look at your prices, but I don't expect you are for a minute. And you've got the other ruling planet, which is Uranus in Scorpio. And those two, as I mentioned earlier, are square to each other. Your fifth house of creativity. So the ruling planet's your MC, like the modern ruling planet, your MCs, in your fifth house of creativity. I think you need to get more creative. Now, your sun sign's Libra, and Libra does need to look nice, and you do look beautiful. I mean, no two ways about it. You've got a nice picture on there, so even if that isn't an up-to-date one, I don't know, that was when you were 16 or something, it's still a nice friendly face and beautiful, and people will be attracted to that. With that Gemini ascendant, you need to condense down what it is you do for people. So it's not what you're qualified in, it's that you can bring them peace, you can bring them clear skin, you can help them with their digestive disorders. You need to shout from your first page, not specifically things that I just mentioned because you get done for doing that, but you need to be summarising that you will be helping people with their health conditions. Yeah, and what it is that the therapies you do will help with the condition. Will it eradicate it completely? Will it calm it down? That sort of thing. You've got to think from the person's point of view that's coming to your website. Now, the 24 degrees, we're using the moon, so the moon is work from home. It looks like I think you're renting a room. That's going to cost you a lot of money. And I know also that you won't want to work on your own. You'll probably want to work in an environment where there are other people. Okay. I also think because as Jackie, is that right? Is that her name? Yeah, Jackie says that with having your MC in Aquarius, that you want to be with the revolutionaries and stuff. I think it would help you to be involved in something like Save the Planet or some sort of campaign group that isn't going around bashing people on the head, but is, saving the planet, pick up plastic, recycle. There's sort of a little bit more, because the Sun conjunct Pluto is kind of like that as well. That's a little bit more pushing the status quo, not really needing to conform. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So Mercury opposition Jupiter, be careful what you tell yourself. Only tell yourself positive things. And Moon to square Mars, you got Mars right on the ascendant. You might wear yourself out by doing too many different things. I noticed that on your social media page you've only got one post. So what was the point in having the social media? Social media isn't a one-way street. It is communicating with other people. If you only, I'm so sorry to be so critical, but if you've only got one post on, there's no point in making your account public, because there's nothing there for people to see. So if you just want to follow people, just go to private and follow them. Yeah, that works much better, because I went and checked on your social media page and there was just one post, and you've been on there for quite a while. Now, obviously, it all depends on time. You might not have the time to do it. So it wasn't a criticism, it's just an observation. Now, your Jupiter conjunct Chiron, we've already got an issue with it being opposite to your Mercury, and your Mercury's retrograde. So repeat, and you'll learn. Chiron conjuncting your Jupiter. On a bad day, you don't believe in yourself or your capabilities, and you forget how strong you are. I mean, goodness me, you've got your North Node and flipping Scorpio in the 6th. You are a very good healer. Somebody might need to write your website in the third person. So Melanie does this, Melanie does that, Melanie does the other, rather than I, because that could be a little bit tiresome for people. And also, I don't think I've got too much that's I've got a certain amount. But on the first page, you either say, I can help you with this, or somebody else will say, Melanie helps with this. Or, have some testimonials on your first page. I went to see her and I felt fantastic, yeah. So note if the principal planet is exactly conjunct or within 1 degree of a royal fixed star. I'm not going to do that. Note the house or houses the planet rules. Your principal planet is in the 4th and it's happy there, so it's in its happy home. So we can say Moon and the MC, even though they've got no aspect to each other, because one's Aquarius and one's Virgo, with that being your principal planet in square to Mars. But it also makes a sextile to your Saturn, is that you're not irresponsible. So you're responsible in your healing abilities. And your Moon square your ascendant as well. I think your Moon needs some TLC. Go for the Centauri, 2 drops of water every day for a week. Venus, which is the ruling planet to your sun sign, is also square to Neptune. Are you looking after your own health? Get a second opinion for every opinion that you get. And your chart shapes a bucket with Jupiter. Don't count Chiron because it's an asteroid. With Jupiter being the handle of your bucket. So you're pretty one-sided there, actually. But I would recommend that you involve yourself in something that is A, new, and B, is so different to other people. Yeah. Now you could say, oh, my website's a different colour, so therefore it's different to other people. Yes, but the colour might put people off. It doesn't come very nicely on a mobile phone. Also, the other thing is that if this is for everybody now, I'm saying this, if you've got a website, don't keep looking at it on your browser, on your laptop or your PC or your Mac. Go look at it on your mobile phone. It's more than 50% of people look at things on their phones now. And you'll also book from there and shop from there. So my website is definitely geared to be visible and approachable and scrollable and whatever on a mobile phone. Now, let's have a look at some transits. So you've got all your planets on one side of the circle. All the transiting planets are on the other side of the circle where the majority of your planets are. Okay. So there's nothing in Sagittarius at the moment, nothing Capricorn, nothing in Aquarius, other than Pluto that is 1 degree into the sign of Aquarius at the moment. That's actually going to form a square to your natal Uranus. So your generation, so people born in the late 70s, is that right? Yeah, mid 70s. They're going to be having a square between Pluto and Uranus, which you'll never have experienced before, ever. So it's quite a new outer planetary aspect. So again, it's going to be digging you out the dirt, bringing you up, bringing you towards things that are going to be beneficial. Saturn's just about to go into your 10th. It's the ruling planet, your MC, so get ready. In a couple of weeks' time, boof, it'll be in your 10th house. Neptune, Mars, well, this is the day that I'm recording this. The moon's in Aries, North Node, Mercury, Chiron. You're having your Chiron return. Your Chiron is 26 degrees Aries. At the moment it's 20. So you're in the middle of your Chiron return, because it's normally 42 years, I think. Sun, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter all in Taurus. So they're all going to be in opposition. Not quite to your Uranus, but your Uranus is an early degree. But that chunk of planets going through Taurus, and you've got your North Node in Scorpio. Do you need to do things differently? Now, eventually, Jupiter's going to go over your ascendant, so that's a bit later this year. I think that'll be more beneficial for you, because Jupiter's a happy, lucky planet. And you can be quite nervous, I think. That Mercury retrograde in the 5th. The Sun conjunct Pluto in the 4th. The moon's quite a nervous moon sign to have. And with your Mercury retrograding in the 5th, it's the only possibility that you could write some articles, some stories, some information about what it is that you do. Could you write a little 10-point plan, how to do whatever it is that you do, how to help this particular condition, home treatments type stuff. But your Sun, your Moon and your Mercury, look, Sun, Moon, Mercury and Venus, just those 4 planets to themselves are not having any conversation whatsoever with each other. And as I say, the only aspect to your sun sign, it's almost like you've got an unaspected sun, that you're just going along because you're just sort of doing it, that you're not making conscious decisions. You're just sort of moving in the general direction of the thing that will scare you the most. So slow down a bit and investigate your moon, your Mercury and your Venus a bit more, because they're not having a conversation with your sun sign. Yeah. Now it's a nice chart. Not there's charts that aren't nice. I think you're well suited in what you do, but long term you're going to think about, can you teach what it is that you're doing from your home? Can you teach others something? There's been a lot of emphasis on needing to learn. Don't know where that came from, but you've got a lot of qualifications and you spent a lot of time training. Has your job manifested how you want it to be? I do think you need to be a little bit more edgy about things, which is why I definitely recommend the being on the edge. If you've never done it, I recommend it. It's amazing how it can affect your creativity and get you inspired, that you literally carefully, without throwing yourself off, go to the edge of a cliff and look over the edge and how do I feel and what needs to happen before I metaphorically jump into the new world that I'd like to create. Now, the thing is, you've got a Gemini ascendant, which is mutable, which lives in the past, and your sun sign is Libra, which is cardinal, which is aimed at the future. How much fixed energy have you got? Venus, Saturn, Uranus, and MC are fixed, which is in the now, but your sun sign is tomorrow, and your moon sign is yesterday. Oh, and you've only got one Earth planet, which is your moon. Oh my goodness me. Okay, so you need to go walking in the mud. Go and have a mud bath. Put some walking shoes on and get yourself nice and muddy. You need to connect. You need to definitely connect with the earth a bit more, for sure. Absolutely, literally lie down in the garden. Don't know if you've got a garden, but get in contact with the earth. Get muddy, get dirty, get earth orientated. Go, 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 go. Only one planet. Oops. It's amazing. I can't remember. I didn't mention it. I did mention it once before in a previous podcast episode. There was a lady whose book I read, and she'd done some research on the elements. And she discovered that a lot of her clients, which obviously isn't everybody in the world, but a lot of people that she'd worked with, were very low in earth in their charts. Eek. So, yeah, only one. And then your moon only makes 2 aspects. It's all right. Just square to Mars and sextile to your Saturn. Definitely get some Centauri and get your... I don't know if you actually know how you feel, because your moon and your sun are so close to each other in the sign they're adjacent. You might not know how you feel. So how do you feel? How do you feel, Melanie? You'll go, ooh. You might tell me what you're thinking. It might be a bit more difficult to work out what you're feeling, which obviously it'll all date back to childhood, because the moon's in the 4th and Pluto and the sun are conjunct to each other. So something to do with mum, something to do with dad that needs to be resolved in some way. And the best way for you to learn things is repetition, for sure, because your Mercury's retrograde like mine. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So Melanie, I hope that's been helpful. We've done a few episodes now about the MC. I think it's an important consideration. I haven't covered it too much over the years. I've been busy doing so many other things with people. It might be that now that I'm getting older and I'm learning more about how the MC sort of is evident, and the connections between the principal planet, ruling planet, house it's in, yours is in the 9th, which is learning. Yeah, so there might be this internal thing that if I don't learn enough, then I don't know anything. So it's about trusting that you probably know an awful flipping lot already. So I hope you have a fab week, and I'll be back next week. Bye bye now.